Hello everyone and welcome to TransByDef. Today we're talking about non-verbal and verbal communication. Now I reckon that can cover quite a lot of things. So I might start with the verbal side of things and discuss my different aspects of verbal communication. I think, well, obviously that's got to do with your voice. There's various arenas where your voice can be captured. One is obviously in face-to-face conversation, which is fairly easy, which is probably the easiest one to negotiate of all the forms of verbal communication, I suppose. Forums, maybe. That basically comes down, if you're trans, if you want to put across a feminine voice, then that requires that you do voice feminization training, which I'm fairly guilty of not doing much of, and it took me a really long time to get to the stage where I could be confident with my voice in face-to-face communications. I sometimes get really nervous and I just can't, it comes out a bit deeper, and people can sometimes tell when I'm nervous that I'm trans. So, that's one hurdle you have to tackle is anxiety and nervousness in face-to-face communication, because not only can they hear that you're a bit nervous and maybe your pitch dropped or something like that, but also they can see non-verbally that you're a bit anxious and nervous as well. So they put the two together and may or may not guess that you're trans or not. So that's one area you can really improve on if you're transgendered, is if you really work hard on your voice to make it super feminine, then you are often more successful in different arenas. Face-to-face communication could be one of those if you're also non-verbally very feminine as well. Another problem I have working in the arena of probably the telephone conversations, I have trouble transmitting the fact that I'm female across a telephone. I don't know why that is. It's just, I think it might be something to do with the codecs on the line. It just doesn't, it sounds like I'm gay. It doesn't sound like I'm transgender. Without that non-verbal communication, I think that just verbal by itself, I think I fail somewhat, and though I'm getting better at it, and I really should be trying to practice even now. I should continuously practice your voice, I suppose. And there's a technique I use for practicing feminine voice techniques, and that's to use the microphone headphone feedback system, because that works really well, because then you can hear exactly what you're saying straight away. It feeds back, and that's the best way, I think, to really hone in on the different accentuations in your voice there. Of course, you could just record your voice, and and then review it later, maybe after a little couple of minutes, so you can talk and then review and see where you can improve, and then things like that. So I think I know some transgender people are highly successful with podcasts, and they have really mastered the art of feminine vocalization, and that's what, if you want to pass, I think the first thing, as long as you look feminine enough, if you have a feminine voice, that really says you're a girl straight away. Especially if it's really highly feminine, then you will get that female, that non-verbal verbal gap will join much more easily. So Yeah, so I mean, that's what I've got to say for verbal communication. Communication is not just verbal, it's also very visual and things like that too. I mean, I don't think you have to be overly feminine in your non-verbal appearance necessarily to portray femininity necessarily. I mean, facial expressions come into that mix too as well. So if you're in a situation, for instance, that maybe slightly compromising, maybe you're a bit nervous, there's one thing that I use every time that's a great defense against anything really. It's a smile. That sounds a bit silly, but if you're coming up against someone and maybe they didn't quite expect you to be a certain way, if you smile at them, that is completely disarming as far as as whoever you're talking to is concerned, because they're immediately disarmed if they have any negativity towards you. If you smile at them, I think even if you're not particularly feminine, overly feminine or anything like that, I mean, a smile is the best weapon against transphobia. I reckon it's if you smile at someone, that really makes them at ease with you, despite maybe a lot of preconceptions. So yeah, I mean, facial expressions are very important to the human being, as you all know. Is just the facial area. The human beings are very responsive to that area, so, and I can immediately sense small differences, minute differences in your face, and just to discern whether you are female or not, or whatever it may be, your emotional state, etc. I mean, for a trans person, makeup is also not only facial expressions important, but makeup can assist you in, for instance, your eyebrows. Women actually have shaped their eyebrows to accentuate the eyebrow movement. So I think you'll find that females are expected to be more facially expressive. So, and in shaping the eyebrows in a certain way allows the eyebrow to move up and down the ridge bone more than they would normally, and yeah. So shaping your eyebrows is kind of important in the way you express your femininity and things like that too. Also, eyes. Usually, if you're being more feminine, your eyes are a bit wider. Wide eyes. I think girls have their eyelids a bit more open. The mascara helps accentuate the eyes again, but that sort of thing. And of course, lips and the smile. You can shape the way your makeup forms on your lip to give your lip a look of maybe more fullness. Because men, the top lip particularly, they don't have. It's a bit slightly recessed down in men, so my technique for that is just to slightly just give a little bit over the edge of lipstick, and that gives the appearance of more femininity. So, and of course it's good to accentuate this this central thing here. I'm not sure what it's called, but yeah, just above the lip there, you can just give a little nip and on that side, and a little nip on that side, and that just makes you look a lot more feminine than if you had a straight sort of looking line there. So and all these things go you know, like makeup, the collection and the cumulative registry of someone's sight, looking at your face, is that you're female or not, and all that verbal communication sort of mixes and blends together and forms what I would say is a picture of what you want to portray to a person in a face-to-face communication, non-verbal setting. So yeah, I can't think of anything else to say about non-verbal verbal, but I'm sure there's lots of things that you could talk about. I mean, the way you dress obviously is important. You know, one thing with non-verbal dress codes and things like that is that if you want to look more feminine, maybe not dress up so much. Maybe dress down just a little bit, just enough to maybe, because if you, I know I'm guilty of this, just dressing up just over the top, and people go, "Why, that's a bit over the top. Something's going on there," and they go, and then they start looking for what's wrong, and then they all eventually will find something, and you know, some feature or whatever it may be about you that they may associate with you not being female in that case, so, or you're a cross-dresser or something because you just overdid it. So, but then again, like, if you do it the right way, overdoing it can work for you as well. So yeah, you know, like hand gestures are important. Females, well, I know for a fact that females can bend their hands back further, you know what I mean, like that sort of thing, and they can fold their these fingers under something, and well, my tendons get all buzzy when I do that, but yeah, just holding your hand in a certain way. So when you shake someone's hand, it's like you can't really go crunch because I don't have that, those tendons aren't in the same place anymore. So I mean that might be a tactile version of communication as well. That's non-verbal. So, and things like that. So well, yeah, as I said earlier, all these forms of communication blend together, and it takes years. For me anyway, it took me years to work it all out, very slowly, meticulously, and I think if you want to do it, you need to do it to work through all these things. And it's not, I don't think it's easy. It takes, you're a bumbling fool for ages. I was a bumbling fool for a long time until I'm still working things out, you know, slowly. So yeah, I think another thing you need to have is patience. So all trainees should have like patience of, as you know, as much as you can get. I can't emphasize that. It's just so important to be patient, and yeah, and not to be too assertive, I think, because sometimes you got to let people make their own decisions, and you can't be too forceful about, you know, like projecting your identity on to them. So yeah. There's a lot of stuff there. I think I'd probably do another video on different aspects of that, but I think I've already reached 14 minutes or something. Okay. Well, everyone, I was glad to be here, and I'll talk to you all next time, and bye.